How's everyone? Good? Sorry? Sure. Is it still good morning or is it good afternoon? It's still good morning. Okay, good morning everyone. Good morning Queensland. Well, it's wonderful to be in Mackay, and can I tell you, things are smelling very sweet at the moment. And behind us, it's 85,000 tonnes of sugar. Now, Queensland has had record exports this year to date. We're already over $94 billion, and the Mackay port here is ready to see its record exports as well. And one of the great success stories of our economy at the moment is in sugar. We're seeing around $600 a tonne at the moment, so really good prices. And this is because some of the markets to Europe have been disjointed, but also in South America. So remember, because Queenslanders did such a great job in relation to the way we dealt with COVID, our exports kept going. Our people kept working. We had very minimal disruptions, especially over that 2 years of COVID. And Queensland, this result of $94 billion of record exports for our state is a signal of all the great work that you did during those years. I'm joined today, of course, by the Assistant Minister and the Member for Mackay, Julianne Gilbert, but also to our Health Minister, Yvette Darth, and I think Yvette will have a few things to say as well. But we're also pleased to announce today that in a sneak budget preview, we're putting $4 million into the wharf outside here, and it was wonderful to hear from the Ports Corporation in relation to the fact that local manufacturing is being utilised. So Paget is some of the manufacturing, but also to the pontoon is from Townsville, and utilising regional expertise. So we are manufacturing things here in Queensland, which of course is jobs. And that expansion of that new port, it also means around 30 jobs as well. So look, the people of Mackay in this region should be incredibly proud. Very low unemployment rate at the moment here, good job prospects as well for the community. But just to see a glimpse here of so much sugar behind us, and the fact that that's going to be going to markets around the world with those significant prices. In fact, my advice was that the first quarter of this year was one of the best quarters on record for sugar exports. So look, I'll hand over to Julianne to say a few words, and Yvette, and then we'll hear from a few other people, and then of course we're happy to take your questions. So I'll hand over to Julianne. Thanks.
Thank you, Premier. And good morning, everyone, and welcome to beautiful Mackay. And we just love turning the weather on for everyone. So if you're looking for somewhere to go, come to Mackay. It's the place to be. It's an exciting day to be here at the Port of Mackay to see these the wharf number 4 having its renovations being done. That means that those records that this port has seen so far, with over 24% of cargo coming through through our port, and also our break bulk cargo up by 25%, it's only going to get better. And as the Premier has said, wonderful manufacturing businesses right here in our home city have contributed to the jobs and to the infrastructure here at our port. And Mackay is the home of one of the latest manufacturing hubs that the Palaszczuk government has set up around Queensland. So we are seeing the results of the forward-thinking of our state government, ensuring that we are backing in our local manufacturers and having our locally owned port out there sourcing local manufacturers to make sure that everything that is made and is put in place here at our local port is either made locally or one of our close neighbours at Rockhampton or Townsville if we can't build it here. So it's an exciting place to be, locally owned ports and local manufacturers, making sure that we've got the facilities to bring all of that cargo in and out of our locally owned port.
I might get Nick and David to say a few words, and we'll do this and then we'll move on to other matters.
Thank you and welcome everyone. We have a wonderful day today to celebrate what is going to be another record year for the Port of Mackay. This facility is 80 years old. We celebrated that 3 years ago. And the shed where we are today is more than 60 years old. 3 years ago, when the pandemic actually hit, I was privileged to be surrounded with a fantastic team that kept the port running every day and every night through what was a very challenging year. We also committed to do significant investments in the port to support the Queensland businesses. And the investments and all the facilities that we have today have actually been put to use when in the quarter of this year, earlier we had actually a record quarter, and we're going to finish the year on the record tonnage in the Port of Mackay. We support more than 6,000 jobs in the farming, mining and the transport industry, and we're very proud of the fact that our investments, which is actually spread around Queensland all the way from Townsville to Rockhampton, and obviously a lot of the local community in Mackay. Thank you.
Good morning. Can I acknowledge the presence of the Premier, the Health Minister and also the local member for today's event. Really appreciate them coming here to the Sugar Terminals facility here in Mackay. As the Premier touched on, we are enjoying record sugar prices at present, so that's a very positive for the growers, for the millers and for the marketers of this product that the Premier rightly indicates goes around the world. The shed we're in now can handle a total of 320,000 tonnes of sugar. This is but a small portion of it. The cane crushing season is about to commence in the next couple of weeks. So again, where we're standing now will soon be full of more raw sugar. I think that's a positive thing. So again, thank you for your attendance. The sugar industry is a valuable industry to the Australian economy. We certainly appreciate playing the role we do to ensure the logistics and supply chain is efficient and we get Queensland sugar out to the market as effectively as we possibly can. Thank you.
Appreciate the climate that we're under at the moment with a good sugarcane crop coming up for the 2022 season, and stressing that this terminal facility is an integral part of the logistics chain, and we are certainly committed as Sugar Terminal Limited to make sure that this product is able to reach the market at the opportune time and provide a reliable service in a safe and efficient manner.
Thank you. Are there any questions about what we're doing here at the moment? And then we can move on to other things.
Just in regards to these upgrades, can you walk us through exactly what upgrades you're thinking of and what the timeline for it to be before we see it happen?
Yeah, well, it's already actually started, which is great news, but we've allocated $4 million in next month's budget to complete the works of the wharf, which is fantastic. But, you know, what I'm trying to signal to Queenslanders is that their hard efforts have actually meant we've had record exports for Queensland this year. And what that means is there should be good news in our budget that's coming up next month that will be handed down by the Treasurer. So Queensland will be able to reap the rewards of their hard work of COVID, and the economy is showing great signs of going strength to strength because our exports are so strong. Now it's in sugar, it's in cotton, it's in beef, it's in other crops, it's in LNG, it's in coal. All of these things make up our economy, and we have seen record exports as a result. And the Port of Mackay is also seeing their record year as well, with over 3 million tonnes.
Any other line items in the budget that will directly affect Mackay?
Absolutely, but I can't reveal those at the moment. So there'll be lots of good news for Mackay in the budget next month, and we're still working through those finer details and looking forward to announcing those closer to the date. Okay, any other questions?
Can you walk us through Labor's overhaul of smoking laws and the sale of illegal?
Yeah, I might get the Health Minister to address that. Thanks, Yvette.
Thank you, Premier. So we went live yesterday with a discussion paper for the public. It's World No Tobacco Day today, and it's wonderful to open the discussion about further reform around smoking, and that includes e-cigarettes and also illegal tobacco. More and more small businesses across Queensland are telling us that they are seeing illegal tobacco sale popping up all over the place, and that's having a real impact on those legitimate businesses that are doing the right thing. So they've asked for us to look at licensing the industry, which hasn't occurred before, and also looking at the penalties. We're also looking at further reforms around smoking, so where there's designated no smoking areas around clubs and pubs, that children aren't allowed in those areas as well. And no drinking, because we know drinking and smoking can often go hand in hand. Also, whether we should be prohibiting smoking in car parks outside school areas as well. So we're really keen for the public to jump online and be involved in this discussion. They are important reforms. We've done such a tremendous job in the last decade of bringing our smoking rates down, but it still makes up the predominant impact on our health system here in Queensland for illnesses, hospitalisations and sadly deaths. So we want to continue those reforms, and we're really pleased that we've been able to work with stakeholders to put out this regulatory impact statement and ask the public for their feedback on it.
And what about the government's plans to crack down on vapes?
So we're certainly doing work on vaping as well. Vaping and e-cigarettes go hand in hand. There is regulation where e-cigarettes or vaping contain nicotine, but what I need to explain to people is that whether it includes nicotine or not, you are actually breathing in dangerous chemicals. Some of those chemicals are known to be carcinogenics into your lungs. And so people take up e-cigarettes or vaping thinking that it's a healthy alternative, but they're still breathing in toxins. Now, sometimes, people's GPs will actually recommend that they move to e-cigarettes if they're trying to wean off tobacco, and that's fine if it's recommended by your GP. But otherwise, we are saying to people, this is not a safe, healthy alternative, and people should be listening to that advice. Children shouldn't be using vaping. And we've got parents in our schools calling out for support and advice as to how to understand whether vaping is safe and what to tell their children. So the message is pretty clear. Kids, you should not be vaping. It is not good for you. And we'll be having more information going out there and advertising around this in the very near future.
The opposition is calling today for the government to widen the Commission of Inquiry in the police services to include the Forensic Services Lab. Ms. Palaszczuk, what do you make of this, and do you think it will happen?
Look, can I touch on this? I have no idea why the opposition would be calling for this other than playing pure politics. We've already announced a review. The review will be done by forensic specialists, experts in the field. So I see no benefit whatsoever in stopping what we've already put in train. We've already released the terms of reference and turning to another body, a commission of inquiry, that would still have to go out and try to search and find those forensic experts to actually undertake that work. So it's a duplication. It is completely unnecessary. David Crisfolli already knows that we're undertaking this review, and this is just pure politics, nothing more.
Do you think that it's fair on victims or families that the review won't look at previous unsolved cases?
Well, what we need to do first is look at the system. Look at the system and see if the system is working properly, or whether there is systemic issues with the way that testing is done in this state. Now, if there is evidence and findings that there is systemic problems with the way testing has been done, then there will be other flow-on effects from that. But first we've got to look at the system. If the system is working, then we can have confidence in relation to those cases. But there is already one high-profile case that we are aware of where there's been commentary around this testing. That's been referred by myself to the Attorney General, and the Attorney General has asked the coroner to reopen, and that is occurring. So we already have a case before the coroner right now who will be looking at that testing as well in relation to a particular case. And the coroner may very well make findings as well in relation to the testing that applied and how that was used in that particular case. That could also have recommendations that flow on. So first thing you've got to do is look at the system and how the testing works, and that's what we're doing.
What actions have been taken over the last 6 months since these lab failures came to light to make sure that the results coming from the lab now are correct?
Well, I think it's important to understand that we meet all of our accreditation, national accreditation. We have met those requirements at all times. So we are complying with all of the laws currently and meeting our accreditation standards. But we are wanting to ensure that the public can have confidence in the way that all of the testing is done, and that's why we're doing this review. There are various layers in which the system is regularly tested, but we're taking it even further and doing this review, and let's wait and see what this review finds.
You don't have any cases have been affected by these alleged failures in the lab?
Well, we don't know if there's alleged failures yet. Let's wait and see what the review shows before we say that there's been any failings or not. That's why we need to undertake this review.
So if it does show that there are failings, you will go back and look at unresolved cases?
Well, let's get the review done, let's see what the recommendations are, and then act on those recommendations.
I have a question for the Premier regarding pricing electricity.
Yeah, sure.
Currently, there is no price cap on how much retailers can charge for electricity. It's been soaring over the past 3 weeks. Is the state government going to put a cap on prices? What are your thoughts on that?
What we said clearly in Parliament the other week is that we understand that there are cost of living pressures on Queenslanders right across this state. That's why my government has announced a $175 rebate per household that will be going to households this year. That will be in the budget next month. We've preemptively come out and announced that so people know that they will actually have that easing of those electricity prices with that $175 rebate. And that's on top of rebates that we have been providing over a number of years now.
Rebates will only do so much, so you won't consider a cap at all at the moment?
We don't work in that system, so unfortunately we are guided by what's happening around the world. That's having an impact, what's happening in Ukraine at the moment, but also too we've got a generator out in Callide, and also Swanbank is down for maintenance at the moment as well, so that's having an impact.
In Western Queensland, the council has launched legal action over a $4 million geothermal plant that's never delivered power. The state government chipped in $500,000 to that power plant in Winton. Is that concerning that 2 years after construction the project's failed?
Look, that's the first I'm hearing about that. Happy to find out some more information for you.
There have been more cases of ambulance ramping in Townsville overnight. What's the state government doing to combat this health crisis there?
Let me say very clearly that there are a lot of pressures on Queensland hospitals at the moment because we have people in hospital with COVID. Today there are over 300 people in our Queensland hospitals with COVID. There are people who have disability or who are aged care who are in our hospitals and should be out in the community close to their loved ones. These are issues I have raised federally with the former Prime Minister, and my understanding is that these issues will be able to be discussed at our first National Cabinet meeting face-to-face with the new Prime Minister. So these are not problems unique to Queensland. These are problems, and I speak to other premiers across the country, these are issues that are being experienced across the nation. Now, on top of that, we have a influenza A outbreak flu season this year, so please, residents of regional Queensland, if you haven't gone and got your flu vaccination, they're free. We've made them free to make sure that people can ease that, once again, that cost of living pressure and go and get their vaccine. But also too, we have staff who work in our hospitals and also our paramedics who either are sick and can't go to work because they've either got influenza or COVID. So these are extraordinary situations that our state's facing at the moment. It's putting pressure, and I want to assure Queenslanders that we are fighting to fix this. Now, there's going to be a budget next month, and it's going to be a record budget in health, and the Health Minister and I, along with the Treasurer and the Deputy Premier, are working through all of these issues. But for one moment, do not think that these are unique to Queensland or unique to Townsville or unique to Brisbane. These pressures are happening Australia-wide, and it's a culmination of all those factors that I've been talking about that explain why that is happening at the moment.
What's your message to those families that are waiting on this forensic lab investigation that have been left?
I think the Health Minister did an adequate job there explaining that a comprehensive review is underway, and let the experts do that review. And unfortunately, the opposition likes playing politics. And it's the opposition that actually cut staff to that forensic lab all those years ago as well. So, you know, we need to make sure that that review is done at arm's length from government, and the experts are looking at that. Okay? Thanks everyone. Have a nice day.